All right. Hello. Video. I'm shooting these videos live, so if it seems like I don't know what I'm talking about, well, that would be why. I'm basically just giving a brain dump of all the stuff that I know because I want my kids to know what I know about computers, and I've got well over a couple of decades of knowledge, so of course I could shoot videos for a ton of time. I'm recording these live, but I don't have the chat turned on. I'm not interacting. I am just taking the opportunity to basically talk about what I know about, have it go up to YouTube, and make it available to other people. Here are my watching rules. You never watched a video with watching rules before. Actually, you can ignore these if you want. If you think I need the thumbs down, then I'm sure you're going to do that no matter what. If you like the content in this video, you can give me a thumbs up. But I'm giving you free information, so appreciate it, unless the information is wrong. And if it is wrong, you can call me out on it. I will get things wrong. There will be times. Address it in the comments if you want to. Help everybody else learn. I am here to learn as well. Do you know it all? I don't know it all. Help me out. And feel lucky that you have the opportunity to learn. And then my fifth rule is if you want to be notified, you can click the subscribe button and click the bell. I'm not throwing a whole lot of effort into these things because no flashy intro yet, no transitions, no jump cuts, none of that super cool stuff, because this is basically just for information. So today we are learning the less command. And the less command, as far as I know, spawned from the more command. I never used the more command, even though I started all the way back in the 90s with System 5. I never really spent a whole lot of time on the command line as much when I was working there. I did look up something on Google. I basically did a search for Linux more command, and what we came up with is everything you need to know about the more command. Now, the more command, if you're working on a modern operating system, Ubuntu, Linux, Debian, whatever it is Ubuntu? I think Ubuntu is based on Debian. Basically, less is the more preferred command to more. I think more was the precursor. If you want that information, and I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments, go ahead and put that here. Now the reason being, if we take an interesting look over at the Macintosh here in my iTerm, we can always find out where something is by typing the which command. So I can type in which more and it will tell me it's at user bin more. I can also type in which less and it will tell me that it's in user bin less. Now what's interesting about these is, first off, let's take a little trip over to the user bin directory and let's take a look at what the contents are. Now we've learned in previous videos that we've got the ls command, which is short for list, L-I-S-T, but we're going to ls. I'm going to throw in some options here. Of course, as always, you can always check out the man page for ls. It'll bring that up. In fact, we're going to learn today that less is actually what's used when we're working or looking within the man page. And it's always sort of confusing to get into things and not know how to get out, but you can see on the keyboard over there that I hit the Q command in order to get rid of that. So let's clear this right now and let's take a look at the user bin directory. So I'm going to do an ls, I'll throw in an LHA, and I'm going to type in user and I'm going to type in bin. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to get a lot of output. So in my buffer here, in terms of being able to scroll back, you will see that as I scroll back, these are just some of the tools that are available on the command line. Tools that the operating system uses. Some of them are not in use. Some of them get used by different pieces of software where they put a pretty user interface on top of them. But there is a lot of things to learn here. You can do a man on most all of these pages. In fact, let's do a quick little thing. It's always good to know, you may have a question like I have the question right now. How many of these command line tools are there? Well, let's take a quick little trip here. Let's clear our terminal and let's do the same thing. Actually, I'll do an arrow up and repeat this. I'm going to do a quick little pipe here, and I'm going to pipe that to WC. You may think it sounds for water closet. It does not. It stands for word count, and I believe I can give it an L. There we go, or a flag of -L. So let's look at that little command, and let's break it down. We've got list, with these options of L, H, and A, I forget what they stand for. We'd have to use the man page. A is probably all and whatever, but we're listing all of the contents of the user bin directory, and then we're piping that, meaning we're passing it to another application of word count, and we're getting -L. We'd have to look at the man page for that. These are things that are just mnemonics. I've worked with them, so I know them. I know that I would sound smarter if I actually explained them, but I'm giving you the knowledge in order to do that because we're going to be learning less and looking at the man page. So for example, if I wanted to get the man page, I would type in man WC for word count, or yeah, it's word, line, character, etc. That's what I did. The -L was for line. But here in this man page, if I wanted to find that -L option, I would do a search. Now watch what happens when I hit the slash. You can see down at the very bottom right there, what's happening is the slash is going into search mode. Now if I put in a -L, it takes me right to the -L flag option where I can see the number of lines in each input file is written to the standard output. What's cool about learning less is it lays the foundation for another program that is one of my most favorite, and that is Vim, the text editor. Very, very powerful. Notice that in order to get out of this man page, down at the bottom right here, what you're going to see is I'm going to hit the Q for quit. Now Q for quit and H for help are pretty universal in a lot of different systems. We haven't even looked at the man page for less yet, but let's take a look at what happens when we type in, at least here on the Macintosh, the manual page for more. We just got less. So less is the successor to more. On the Macintosh here, I don't even know that more actually exists. Many times you can look at that directory of the user bin directory and see whether a given binary is aliased to another binary or to another application. Let's call them apps. They're not apps. I think of them as binaries. I forget what the actual term is, but these are all the tools that you use. And one thing to note, in Unix, Linux, one of the most powerful concepts, and this is brilliant because you'll find it in JavaScript programming, you'll find it in Java, you'll find it in a lot of, well, I don't know if it's in Java, I forget. A lot of different languages do these things called chaining, or these things. They have a concept called chaining, where you're chaining one command that gets chained to another command that gets chained to another command, and everything just passes through that chain, going from one to the next, modifying the results or the differences or whatever it is that the output's going to be. Linux, Unix, well, I keep saying Linux. I think Unix came first. Correct me in the comments. Whichever one came first. It's had this for a long, long time. So, for example, I wanted the Q right there. You can do something like get some output. Let's do it, that ls again. We'll do an LHA of the user bin since we're listing that directory. And when I pipe that, you can think of this as a chain. I'm chaining this to a certain command, and I could do something like grep. We'll get into that much later. And then I could chain to something else like word count, and then I could chain to something else. And you basically can pass all these commands along. Now, we'll get into that into another video. It's just a little introduction to whet your appetite, keep you coming back for more. We are looking at the less command. Let's get into the less. I'll get off of the sidetrack and finally do a man of less. Or as we just saw right up there with our man more, it basically takes us into less. So, first off, this is really pretty cool because we are looking at the less manual page, but less is what's being used in order to move through this file. Now, the one command that you'll need to know, and when I look off screen, when it looks like I'm looking in screen, by the way, I'm actually looking at my other computer. I should put my computer over here and it looks like I'm looking off screen, but that's just how my monitors are arranged. So notice the key that I'm hitting. You can see it on the keyboard over there. I am hitting, what am I hitting? The J key. It's such a mnemonic for me. And now I'm hitting, in order to go up, this other key. Now, all of the commands in less that you need to know, you could read this page. You could read all of the information that's here, but it's actually a little bit easier to just type H. Like I said, Q and H. Q is used for a lot of things to quit or get out of things, and H is used for help. Now, when we look at commands themselves many times will have -H or -H in order for it to be help. Usually -- commands are the full word, so it would be --help if I was putting that. But basically, when we're in the man page here, anytime that we're getting information, just typing H gives us the help manual for less. So we can see right up at the top here that we're looking at a summary of the less commands. Now, if you go into manual pages and you only know the Q command, then you're really shortchanging yourself, because there are all kinds of things that you can do in here. So you can see right here that just to move forward one line, you can use any one of these. E, Control capital E, J, Control N, or a carriage return. Now this one's pretty obvious right here. Let's actually type Q, and look at that. I'm hitting the return key. Now I'm typing the J key. Let's see if that control, can I do that, Control E? I can. Control Shift E right there. And so I can go up, hit that H, come back, and now learn another command. So this is what is going to be your homework. Your homework is get familiar enough with less so that navigating the documentation for whatever it is that you're needing to learn, because everything is buried in man pages. But man pages are these extremely long documents that sometimes you're just like, this is boring. How am I going to find what I need to do or what I need to learn? Well, that's where if we scroll down a little bit more, we get to the section on searching. So these two things are the most helpful, or they were to me when using the less command, as I just needed to know, one, how do I navigate, go up and down, and then two, how do I search for something? How do I look for things? Now, it turns out that the options that we have here actually match Vim. Now, I'm not an Emacs user, and they may match within Emacs, but what's really cool is in the command line in Unix, I'm just going to call it starix, because using that star that we learned in the previous video, oh, now I have to put a link right there. What time am I at? I'm at 12 minutes. That is basically a wildcard pattern, that star. I just lost my train of thought. All right, let's go back to our search. So I was talking about something, but I'm getting old and I'm losing my train of thought, I guess, early. So in Vim, that's what I was saying, and I didn't know whether it was an Emacs. There we go. Train of thought re-engaged. So basically all we have to know are these two things, the slash and the question mark, in order to search forward or backwards. Now, if you're going to learn the search, you have to learn this option right here. The in repeats the previous search. So in order to search for something, if you don't initially find what you want within the man page, first you're going to start your search with the slash, then you're going to type the in for each successive search or each successive match on that pattern, or you're going to use a capital N for the previous search, and that is in reverse direction right there. So that's it. That's pretty much it. If you can remember those keys, H for help, that'll give you more information. Your navigation, which is going to be all of these. It is pretty nice to learn how to go a page at a time with D and U. Now those are pretty easy because as a mnemonic, D is down, U is up. So if we go D, 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 we're going down the page and going up, up, up. It'll go half a page at a time, but many times you're wanting to read just by hitting one of the keys. Now I happen to like the J and K because it emulates what we find in Vim. It's default navigation keys. So that would be my suggestion, is use J and use K, using Control R and some oddball Control capital P. That's completely bizarre in order to be able to do. I would not do that. I would stick with the simple. And E and Y, maybe that maps to Emacs. I don't know. I don't use Emacs. I use Vim. So let's just use my suggestion, the J and K. Unless you like one of these complex ones, go for it. So let's do a little bit of practice. Let's get out of this with a quick quit. And we were already in the particular man page. Let's say we want to learn about the ls command. We'll type in man ls, and we now want to search this. Let's search for all as a keyword. There we have all, the first one, that capital A. Now let's hit the in and it takes us to another all. We can see right there, we've got all, and we've got, that was all in allocation, and then we've got all. So basically, we can see right here, we got all as part of allocation. So what happens if we do our search for space, all, space? There we're going to find our match of there's including the word all, we're including the word all. This is how you find quickly all of the different options or all of the different things that you would want to do. Now, granted, I will tell you that most of the time there's a mix in terms of when I'm working on the command line. There's a mix of, do I go Google it and search that, or do I search the man page and force myself to learn? So arbitrarily, I'm going to say I do this 50%, 50-50. It's probably not true, but many times my suggestion is it's better to go search the man page because it forces you to learn. And when you force yourself to learn, you retain it better than if you go do a Google search, find a Stack Overflow page, just copy the command and put it in. Because you have intentionally forced yourself, like you are right now with these videos, you are taking however much time. What are we at? We're at 16 minutes. These 16 minutes of your life, hopefully you've learned something new. And it's going to help you get better. And that's what happens every time that you search the man page. So, because I am not all about teaching you every possible option, because I don't know every possible option, although I do like to get in here and sort of just take a little bit of time and read, my suggestion is just take a man page. Take a man page once a week. That's really not very much. Or a man page once every other day. Or if you want to be hardcore, a man page once a day. And just find something that you are interested in learning about on the command line. In fact, I myself, there are a number of commands. I'll give you a little introduction. Apropos. Let's put in... there we go. So, apropos. We're going to have another video, separate topic, where we basically can search all of the different man pages to find what's appropriate, or apropos. I don't know. I'd have to look up what's a dictionary of apropos. Apropos. Right there. Preposition, adverb, used to state speaker's belief, adjective. Very appropriate. Apropos. It's very appropriate. Right there. Always something more to learn. We will learn about finding commands in another video. Maybe we'll do that for the next video. This is working out really nice. It's just segueing into all of the different things. So if you want to know what the operating system has in terms of commands to know what you can do, how do you find those commands and determine what command do I use? So other than using Google, Stack Overflow, and any other of the other myriad of forums out there, we basically can learn how to find the tools that might help us do what we want to do. But for today, what we have is the less command. So do your man less, spend a little bit of time, look at all of your different options right there. Look, there. I even said that many times when you have a full word flag on a command line, it's usually preceded by the --, whereas a lot of the times the short version would just be the single -H. But that doesn't apply to every tool. Remember, all of these tools within the operating system are created by hundreds, if not thousands, probably tens of thousands of contributors and developers over time. And they don't always have to follow the same conventions. Many times they do, but when we're learning these, the absolute authority on most all command line tools is their man page. And we will take a look at that. And if you want a really nice little know-how, you can always type on in Google, you can type man dot whatever, or man whatever it is. So when I type man less here in Google, we get these pages right here. Lots of different pages. Die.net is actually one of the most popular. They have most everything. But here is an easier way to look at this. And you know what? Let's do a little side trip right now. If you've got the time, hey, I've got the time. We're only at 20 minutes. Let's take a quick little trip because there's a command that we can put into the Macintosh. Sorry, Linux and Windows users, this is a Macintosh specific thing. But it's very nice to be able to read these things oftentimes when you you just don't want to be in the terminal. Maybe you want to do it as a PDF. So let's do this quick little Google search right here that I'm going to do. Post PDF man page Mac OS, and I'll just put X because it was an old thing. There we go. Here's something from, look at that, from 2010, but this is still extremely valuable, at least if you're on a Macintosh. Open any man page in preview and save as PDF. So this is really awesome right here. Let's see, where is the, is that the command up at the top? Is that it? That may be it. Right here. Man T, command goes here, piping. All right, let's just take that. Let's just paste it right there. Command goes here. This is one of the things that I'm really excited to teach you about your environment. So let's do man less. So here again, let's investigate this command. We are doing man, and we've got a T option. Let's find out what T is. We will do, my terminal's really small. Will it? It is going to expand. We'll do it over here. Oh, there we go. My buffer got redrawn here, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to clear that. That keeps my command. Let's go and do man. Yeah, we want man less because I want to find out what that -T option is. Go to the next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one. T. Where's the -T option? T option. Actually, you know what I should have done? The smarter thing would be /-T space. There we go. We'll find it eventually there. Use of tags files. Is that it? Compatibility? I don't know. I may have to leave that one for you. Name of the command used by the T option to find global tags. Well, this is probably some learning for me. I do know that in the man pages, with regards to output, the man page and the way that it's formatted, it has specific syntax. This is more like Markdown or any other pseudo language where when you're typing text, you use different keywords. XML also does this on either side, which is the same like HTML, which does on the other side. But you basically have you have values that identify when something should be bold versus when it shouldn't be. So you can see that right here in the terminal, what is causing that, maybe that is the notion of tags. This is something new for me to learn. Use of tags file. I do know about tags in regards to programming, but T-tag or tag, that's something to learn. Tags. But let's pass that command in terms of what we want to see that we are learning about. It went away. Went away. Let's copy it. And let's paste it. And let's see if it works. Our old command from 2010. But what I'm excited about showing you in a future video is setting up your profile or your bash RC file. On the Mac, I believe it's the bash profile, so that you can basically make this a command that works really simply. So let's see if this passes. And there we go. There's our result. So that is really pretty cool. And tomorrow what we'll do is maybe we'll start to set up our bash, our profile, and we'll take a look at our environment. We'll look at finding tools. That'll maybe another video using apropos. And basically, how do you become familiar and learn what's in the operating system? But you can see we've learned a couple of cool things. And what I mean by making a command is this whole command right here, this whole string, you can take these complex piped commands and you can put them into a file that you control, that you define a particular shorthand function or a new name for this. So for example, on my main system, I just type pman, which basically means print manual or PDF manual or PostScript manual or whatever you want to do. So I end up typing pman less, and what happens is this command right here runs and simply brings up the output of the man page in preview. So I can now put this on, say, a mobile device, and I can go have it in my iBooks if you use Apple's iCloud and all of that stuff, or just a PDF on your Kindle, on your Android phone, and basically just read these things and become familiar with them. And that's really the only way that you are going to become familiar with all of the different options. And I imagine there are people who are pretty familiar with like 80%, 90% of what less does. I'm not. Most of the time, I am only familiar with maybe 10% of all of the different possibilities within most of the commands that I use, but they get things done. And once you get to that 10% threshold, you then get the craving in order to learn more. So that, I think that's enough rambling. That's a blah, 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 blah. Enough rambling. So, yeah, let's get QWERTY. That's the end of this video. There will be more in the upcoming videos, shooting these pretty much every day, weekly, just because I want to take the time to do my brain dump, to give it so that my boys have something to learn, and if you benefit as well, awesome. So that means QWERTY out.